Hi, I'm Tim Bradner. Welcome to Capitol Views, and welcome today to Senator Löki Tobin from downtown Anchorage. Thank you, Senator Tobin, for joining us. And we're here to just talk about your background and what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for the warm welcome, Tim. I am elated to be here. As you can tell, I just arrived, so I have no decorations here in my office, but I'm very excited to be back in the Capitol and again here advocating for Alaskans. A little bit about myself. I was born and raised in Nome, Alaska, and it's customary where I'm from to talk about those who came before you. And for me, that's talking about the educators that taught me to read. It's talking about the nonprofit professionals that made sure I could go to the University of Alaska Anchorage with a full ride scholarship. It's talking about the community organizers who introduced me to asset-based community development. And it's talking about all of those individuals who fight so hard for Alaskans to be who they are, where they are. I was very privileged to go to elementary school in both Kodiak and Juneau before returning to Nome to graduate from Nome Belts High School. I was a UA scholar and received an undergraduate dual Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology and psychology, and started on my very long career in nonprofits, where I eventually decided to participate in a program called Peace Corps Masters International, which sent me to Azerbaijan to really engage in that experiential experience of doing asset-based community development on the ground in a community called Zagatala. I returned back to the United States in 2012 and started on a career in nonprofit fundraising, first at Coeric before moving to Anchorage to go to a new position at the Alaska Community Foundation, eventually ending up at the Anchorage Museum. While I was at the museum, I ran into Senator Begich, who had just won his election, and he asked if I was interested in getting involved in politics. Of course, at the time, I was just getting ready to get married and I had student loan debt, and I thought, now is not the right time, but ask me again. And lo and behold, he did, and he had an opportunity where I could really leverage my academic background in education policy to help him fight for the chance for every child to learn to read. And we were successful last year, where we were able to work through the process to engage with community stakeholders and advocates and successfully pass the Alaska Reads Act, which I'm excited to be back here in Juneau to ensure helps our educators give every child the opportunity to be a reader and to be fluent in the written word. It's a really exciting time, and I think it's a really interesting time because I'm also part of a bipartisan coalition, which I think is going to do great things for Alaska.
Okay, thank you for that. Could you talk a little bit about your experience in Azerbaijan? There's a lot of interesting similarities with rural Alaska where you've lived, and maybe you could just spend a couple of minutes talking about your experiences there and what that did for you.
The Peace Corps is an interesting experience for many. I myself served an extended term, so I stayed for a little over 3.5 years. And there was a lot of unique intersectionality with rural Alaska, particularly that of being in an ethnically diverse community, one where many of my assumptions, especially as an American, were challenged. I came into a community that was 98% Sunni Muslim, and having to be engrossed in the culture and the dynamics and learn from the people about what it means to practice Islam really challenged many of the things I had heard or experienced as a post 9/11 graduate. It was such an interesting opportunity to really think about how do people create assumptions and how can I be one to help expose folks or challenge those, particularly when I think of my home community and what it's like to be a resident of rural Alaska or to be connected to rural Alaska. Of course, there were many things that were just not going to have similarities. Washing my clothes by hand, hauling my water, making sure that I was able to find my own food sources or learn how to slaughter a chicken. You don't necessarily have those experiences in Nome growing up. But what I found was just a lot of really interesting opportunities to learn more about myself while I served in the Peace Corps.
Look, and when you come to Juneau, you come with some experience. Obviously, you were 2 terms with Senator Begich. Could you Could you talk a little bit about what that did for you in terms of preparing you to serve in your current, now you're in the state senate, taking essentially filling the place Senator Begich was in. Could you talk a little bit about what that did for you?
Yes, I very much uh, appreciate and try to emulate the example that Senator Bragich put before me. He really was that individual who put the solutions and good policy above politics. He has been working as a community organizer and as a community advocate for so long and on a dedicated path toward ensuring that everyone has access to information. And to be able to fight for pre-K, universal pre-K, to be able to fight for every student to be able to read, to be able to fight for the good things and the good guys to win, it really showcased to me how you can do so by remaining true and authentic, but also being a team player, by being a collaborator, by finding places where you have common ground. Senator Begich emulated what it means to be a statesman. His relationship with Senator-elect Giesel, his relationship with Governor Dunleavy, really highlighted what does it mean to fight for Alaska with keeping your core values in place, but also maintaining a civil and engaging personality and dynamic with those around you. You know, too many politicians are ideologues rather than problem solvers. And Senator Begich is a problem solver, true and true.
Well, now you have a chance to watch the implementation of what you helped, you and Senator Begich helped create. And there's be plenty of challenges, I imagine, with the implementation of the Alaska Reads Act and other education funding challenges. And you're chair of the Senate Education Committee, so you're going to be right in the middle of all that. And
I very
you
much
hit the
am.
ground running. Yeah.
I'm going to hit the ground running. I think we have a lot of work before us, but we have good people in the room who are going to do great things. One thing I have found is policy is iterative. And I'm here for the second, third, fourth, fifth, however many iteratives it takes to get education policy right.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Tobin, and welcome to your new position in the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you.